There was this 18-year-old girl back in 2022. She was skinny, she felt weak, and she longed for a more toned and athletic look. So she'd go onto Instagram, she'd go into YouTube, and she'd see all these fitness influencers with stunning physiques promising that if you did this one workout, then you would get your dream body. But after months of following these workouts to the T, she was still skinny and still saw no results. But then she did some research and came across the term bulking. But the problem was, when she searched the word bulking, it only came up with these chubby guys who didn't look athletic or fit to say the least, but also weren't girls. So she did some more research and discovered lean bulking, and from that moment on, everything changed. Okay, so I'm not going to waste your time. Here are the 6 steps you need to build your physique with confidence and without having to gain all the excess fat. The first 3 steps all focus on diet. You can have the perfect workout program and be training your butt off in the gym every day for months on end, but if your diet's not on point, then you're not going to get any results. So when it comes to bulking, it's definitely true that over 50% of your results are going to come down to what you're putting in your body. Because think about it, if you put the wrong fuel in a plane, then it wouldn't even get off the runway. So if you're putting the wrong fuel in your body, then how can you expect to get anywhere? Now, a lot of the fitness influencers you see online will try and sell you the idea of dirty bulking. And yes, you can get faster weight gain with that, but a lot of the time, a lot more of that weight is going to be fat than muscle. Essentially, the only difference between lean bulking and dirty bulking is that in dirty bulking, you can basically eat whatever you want. They tend not to take into account the specific macronutrients and micronutrients that are in their diet and just choose foods based on how many calories they contain. And that can actually be a better approach for some people because often these higher processed foods tend to be more calorie dense, so that means they're not going to have to eat as much and they won't feel as full, so then they can eat more calories and get faster results. But they also don't really care as much that more aggressive calorie surplus is going to lead to them gaining more fat along with the muscle that they're building. Studies have actually shown that if you're in a calorie surplus, then you're probably going to be gaining the same amount of muscle as someone who's in a higher calorie surplus, but they will be gaining more fat. And that's what lean bulking aims to avoid. So we're still going to be in a calorie surplus, but we're going to be in a little bit of a smaller calorie surplus while choosing most of our foods from clean sources. So how do we know how many calories we should be eating on our lean bulk? First, you're going to have to work out your maintenance calories, and this is the number of calories you have to eat each day to maintain your current weight. It's pretty easy to get a rough estimate for this using an online calorie calculator. This is one I've used in the past, and you literally just shove in your age, your height, your current weight, and your activity level, but we'll get onto that in a bit. So shove all that in, and at the top you can see it gives you a little estimate of the number of calories that you're going to need to eat each day to maintain your current weight. When you're lean bulking, I would usually recommend going into a small calorie surplus of between 200 and 500 calories to start off with. If you scroll down, you can click show info for weight gain, and they've sort of already done this for you. And essentially all that's done is added 500 calories to your maintenance calories. And it's that simple. So you could eat basically any foods to get those calories in, but as we already know, not all calories are created equal. So if you want to optimize your approach to lean bulking, then you're going to want to look more at your macronutrients. So these are the number of carbs, fats, and proteins they're eating each day. This isn't too hard to work out, so I'll give you a quick little run through. First, we're going to start with protein, because protein is essentially the building block that your body needs to be able to build new muscle tissue. So if your goal is to build muscle while you're lean bulking, then it's going to be essential. So going for some easy numbers, say you currently weighed 100 pounds. That means you need 100 grams of protein each day. That's the same as saying you need 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight each day. But like with everything, it's not going to be the same for everyone. So if you're currently on the leaner side, then I'd actually aim for a little bit more protein than that. Anything between 1 to 1.2 grams per pound. But if you're on the less lean side, so more skinny fat, then I'd aim for more 0.7 to 1 grams. I go into a whole lot more depth on protein in another video, which I'll link below. But for now, these are all the basics you need. To calculate how many carbs you need each day, take 40% of your total bulking calories, and that'll give you your number. To convert the number of calories that you're eating from carbs into the number of grams of carbs you need to eat, all you need to do is divide it by 4. We know this because 1 gram of carbs contains 4 calories. Fats are pretty simple. All you do is take your total number of calories, subtract the number of calories from carbs, subtract the number of calories from protein, and what's left is how many fats you need. To convert that into grams, this time you divide it by 9 because each gram of fats contains 9 calories, and you've got your macros. If you're just starting to track your macros, it can be tricky to know which foods contain how much of each macronutrient. Personally, when I'm tracking my macros, I like to use an app called MyFitnessPal. This video is not sponsored by MyFitnessPal, it's literally just the app I use, and you can go in and search for a certain food. It'll tell you the macronutrient split of that food, and you can just track everything you're eating throughout the day. But if you're a complete beginner or tracking just isn't your vibe, then that is completely okay. Even if you just have a rough idea of how many calories you're eating, and I want you to prioritize protein, because protein's what we're going to need to build that muscle, and if you're not eating enough protein, then your results aren't going to be as good as they could be. Okay, so we've got calories and macros down, but now we need to talk a little bit about the foods you should be kind of avoiding while you're in your bulking phase. You'll hear so many people online saying you need
To cut out this, get rid of carbs, fats are bad, sugar is the devil.
Here's the thing, gaining weight or losing weight all come down to energy balance. So that's the number of calories in versus the number of calories out. If you have more calories in and fewer calories out, then you're going to gain weight. If you have fewer calories in and more calories out, then you're going to lose weight. So if your maintenance calories were 2,000 calories and you were getting those 2,000 calories from a whole foods balanced diet, then you're not going to gain weight or lose weight because you're in calorie balance. If you ate 1,500 calories, but all of those calories were coming from pure sugar, you would lose weight because the calories in were lower than the calories out. And the same idea applies to weight gain. But you might be thinking, surely, if you eat things like sugar, then you're going to gain more fat than muscle, because eating sugar has been linked to obesity and stuff, so that's just logical, right? Well, studies say otherwise. This massive 2013 review of 68 studies concluded that when you replace the sugar in someone's diet with another macronutrient but keep the total number of calories the same, then they didn't gain weight. And that's because it all comes back to calorie balance. When you're bulking, you shouldn't demonize any food group, especially not your macronutrients. But it's always a good idea to choose most of your foods from clean or whole food sources and single ingredient foods. So instead of choosing to eat a burger and fries, you might want to go for something more like a steak with vegetables and potatoes, because you're going to benefit a lot more from the micronutrients in that meal, and you're probably going to be feeling more energized and satisfied after eating the steak and vegetables than you would the burger and fries. You tend to see this quite often with processed foods, and if you have a lot of them in your diet, then you might find yourself feeling sluggish all the time, your energy levels are really inconsistent. Eating a lot of processed foods can also increase your cholesterol, which can lead to heart problems, and they really won't help you feel and perform your best in the gym. So if there's one thing you should probably be wary to limit on your bulk, is the amount of processed foods you're eating. Other than that, get your protein in and hit your calories. But one more thing that no one told me when I started bulking was that you have to increase your calories over time. Because even though you were initially in a calorie surplus, your body will adapt to that surplus. So you're going to have to increase it over time if your weight's not changing. A really simple way to know when to increase your calories is just by monitoring your weight. So if your weight's not changing as fast as you'd like it to from one week to the next, just increase your daily calories by 100 and go from there. Now we get on to the fun stuff, which is training. Your diet can be completely on point, hitting all the macros, getting all your protein in, but if you're not doing resistance training, then you're not going to be creating that stimulus that your body needs for muscle growth, so you're not going to build any muscle. And building muscle is what's going to help us achieve that toned and athletic physique. Now, there are loads of workout splits and exercise routines out there, but it really comes down to how many days you can commit to going to the gym each week. Because we've all got busy lives, we're not full-time fitness influencers who get paid to go to the gym. We are students, we are professionals, we have work, we actually have a life outside the gym that needs to take up most of our attention. So quite frankly, we need to be training in a way that gets us the most bang for our buck, spending the least amount of time in the gym but getting the most results. That's why I'm here. let's break it down. If you're a beginner and you can only commit to training 2 to 3 times a week, then I would recommend going for a full body based split. So that means you'll be training every muscle group every time you go into the gym, but you'll only be training for 3 days and the rest of the days in the week will be rest days. But if you have a little bit more time and can commit to 4 to 6 days of training per week, then I'd recommend either going for an upper-lower split or a push-pull leg split. To give you some examples of what your workout week could look like, a 2-day split could be full body, rest day, full body, rest day, rest day, rest day. And if you're training 3 days a week, you could do full body, rest day, full body, rest day, full body, rest day, rest day. A lot of people forget this, but rest days are so important because if you're not giving your muscles around 48 to 72 hours before you train them again, you'll just be tearing them down before your body's had time to actually build up the muscle that you're trying to build in the first place. So in a lot of cases, if you're smart about it, then you can actually get more results by training fewer days per week. If you want to go for a 4-day split, I like to recommend a sort of push-pull legs combination. So day 1 is push day, where you're focusing more on chest, shoulders, and triceps. Day 2 is leg day. Day 3 is a rest day. Day 4 is pull day, where we're focusing more on our back, biceps, and side delts. Day 5 is rest day, and I like to finish it off with day 6 being a full body day, just so that we're making sure we're hitting each muscle group more than once in a week, and you're getting a bit of core in there as well. If you're training 5 days a week, this is personally my favourite and it's what I do currently, and I like to go for an upper-lower split. So depending on whether you want to prioritise your upper body more or you want to focus on more leg development, then there's 2 ways you can approach this. The first one, if you want to prioritise building your upper body, go for upper, lower, upper, rest, lower, upper, rest. But if you want to prioritise building your lower body, go for lower, upper, lower, rest, upper, lower, rest. And if you have a lot of time to dedicate to the gym, then you can go for a 6-day split. I honestly wouldn't recommend training any more than 6 days per week because unless you've got crazy, insane genetics, then you're not going to be able to recover from that amount of training. And most people tend to get best results from training 3 to 5 days per week. Saying that, 6-day split, I'd recommend going for the classic push-pull legs. So day 1, chest, shoulders, triceps. Day 2, back, biceps, and side delts. Day 3, leg day. Day 4, rest day, and then repeat push-pull legs. I would recommend having another rest day after that last leg day, but if you want to keep your training days on specific days, so say you always want leg day to be on a Wednesday, then that's not really going to work, so you're going to have to go straight back into your push-pull legs. I've actually created a free downloadable week of workouts for each of these splits, which you can grab in the description, just because I was in the exact same position as you when I started, and I had no idea what I was doing. And if I had a workout program like this that I could just follow, then I would have seen results so much faster, and yeah, my life would have been a whole lot easier. So I want to make your life easier too. Okay, so we've got our workout split, but how do we actually train and see progress in the gym? This is one of my absolute favourite things to talk about, and it is progressive overload. There's 3 simple ways you can do this. Number 1 is increase the weight. Even adding as little as 1 kg between weeks counts as progressive overload. Method 2, increase the reps. So, you're lifting your 10 kg for 10 reps. Next week, go in, try and lift your 10 kg for 11 reps. Easy. Method 3 is slow down your reps. This is one that everyone always forgets about, and I like to whip it out my back pocket when someone comes up to me saying they've hit a plateau. Because the thing is, your muscles don't know the number on the weight that you're lifting. It just knows the tension that you're putting on it. So if you're slowing down the reps, then your muscles are going to be under tension for longer, and it's going to create a bigger muscle building stimulus. So those are the 3 options you have for progressive overload, but the way I like to sort of combine them is called double progression. So I know it sounds complicated, but I promise you, it's not that hard. For each exercise in your workout, you're going to have a specific rep range that you're going to want to land in. We'll go back to our 10 kg example. Say you were lifting your 10 kg and your rep range was 10 to 12 reps. On week 1, you could only manage to lift that 10 kg for 10 reps. So in week 2, you'd go in and try and increase the reps, so you're lifting that 10 kg for 11 reps. If you could manage that, the next week you go in and lift it for 12 reps. When you hit 12 reps, so the upper end of your rep range, that's when you want to aim to increase the weight. So now you're lifting 11 kg, but now you're aiming for the bottom end of your rep range again. And then you keep repeating that process, and that's double progression. So to put it simply, increase the reps until you hit the top of your rep range, and then increase the weight, and then repeat the process. But now we've got to have a little conversation, you and me. We've got to talk about motivation. Every single fitness influencer out there, every single athlete you've ever seen has not had motivation every single day. I can promise you that now. I haven't had motivation every single day. So we can't rely on that to get us through our workouts. I like to think of motivation as the sea. It comes in waves. Sometimes they're absolutely massive and crashing, and other times it's completely still. When the big waves come, you should definitely jump on it and ride those waves. But a lot of the time, your motivation levels are going to be lower and they're not going to take you where you want to go. And that's where discipline comes in. Once you have discipline, it's more like a waterfall. It's constantly there, and it's what keeps you going back to the gym and putting the work in. Keep going back to the gym day after day, week after week. And as you focus on the end goal, as well as enjoying the process along the journey, you're going to find that building discipline just becomes second nature. Don't get me wrong, I still have those days where there's literally zero motivation and I really don't want to get out of bed. But because I've built that discipline, it gets me through and gets me to the gym. Another thing that people don't usually talk about when it comes to bulking is having discipline to hit your calorie goal. Because I don't know about you, but I do find it hard to hit my calorie goal sometimes. And it's that discipline that gets me through, because I know that if I don't eat enough, then I'm not going to see the results I want. And thinking about it like that just makes the whole thing so much easier. So if you stay consistent and put in the work with both your diet and your training, I promise you now, you're going to see results greater than you've ever imagined. Thank you so much for being a real one and making it this far in the video. So make sure you grab the free workout splits in the description. And make sure you check out this video next, because it's going to help you a whole lot on your bulking journey. Okay, bye.